5 QBs Eagles should consider as Foles' backup. Philadelphia, now that Nick Foles is the Eagles' starting quarterback for the rest of the season in place of Carson Wentz, the question remains, who's going to be Foles' backup? Sure, the Eagles have Nate Sudfeld. But Sudfeld is 24 years old and has never played in an NFL game since he was taken in the 6th round of the 2016 draft by Washington. Are you ready to have him a proverbial play away from quarterbacking the Eagles in the playoffs should Foles get hurt? So, here are some candidates to serve as Foles' backup, in descending order from best option to worst. Yes, Kaepernick. It makes sense for a lot of reasons, assuming the Eagles and perhaps their fans can get past the national anthem and protests. For one, Kaepernick was a starting quarterback in the NFL for the previous 5 seasons, and he had taken the 49ers to the Super Bowl in 2012-13. Even last season, on the 2-14 team, Kaepernick threw just 4 interceptions in 12 games. He can throw, he can run, and he doesn't turn the ball over. All prerequisites for a successful playoff quarterback. Secondly, Kaepernick's signing would be strictly as a backup for the playoffs. It would be ludicrous to expect Kaepernick to come in and play before the regular season is over. And he won't have to. Kaepernick would have about a month to learn the Eagles' offense, assuming the Eagles get a bye in the wild card round. That means their first playoff game wouldn't come until the week of January 13th to 14th. That would give Kaepernick a glorified training camp to learn the system. Sudfeld can back up Foles for the final 3, or 2, see below, regular season games. Thirdly, there's no guarantee that Wentz will be healthy to start next season, and chances are, he won't be ready for training camp. At the very least, Kaepernick can provide depth during camp, and if needed, for the first part of the season. That way, Wentz won't have to rush back, and nor should he. Eagles, at last, rookie Sidney Jones practices, but will he play? Eagles, Foles isn't Wentz, but is he good enough? Eagles, some fans have faith in Foles. Lastly, the Eagles are one of the most equipped teams in the NFL to handle the so-called distraction of Kaepernick's presence. They went through this when they signed Michael Vick in the summer of 2009 after he had served a federal prison term for running a dogfighting ring. Kaepernick, it should be noted, has never broken the law. He has also said he won't kneel for the anthem anymore. Griffin would fit the first 3 qualifications mentioned for Kaepernick. He has experience in leading a team to the playoffs, which he did in his rookie season in 2012. He would have a full month to learn the offense in case he's needed in the playoffs, and the Eagles can keep him on the roster in the offseason in case Wentz isn't ready. But where Griffin differs from Kaepernick is his long and lengthy injury history. He clearly isn't the same dynamic running and passing quarterback that he was in his rookie season, which ended with a torn ACL. Reggie has struggled as a pocket passer after that, and was released by Washington after the 2015 season. He didn't play at all that season. Reggie was handed the Cleveland Browns starting job last season, but hurt his shoulder in the first game and didn't play again until the 13th game. Still, Griffin has played just 5 games in the last 3 seasons, so there's a lot of rust to shake off. On the other hand, maybe not playing this season has helped Griffin heal completely from his injuries. This is where the pickings start getting slim. Hill has experience, but he will turn 38 next month and has spent most of his career as a backup, starting just 35 games over his 12-year career. That might endear him to Eagles coach Doug Peterson and offensive coordinator Frank Reich, who are both former longtime NFL backup quarterbacks. It's likely that Hill's experience will enable him to learn the Eagles' offense faster than Kaepernick or Griffin. Hill is also a steady passer. He has a career completion rate of 61.8%, with 49 touchdown passes against 30 interceptions. In addition, Hill has played for Jim Schwartz before. Hill started 10 games for the Detroit Lions in 2010 in place of the injured Matthew Stafford. He went 3-7. Schwartz was the Lions head coach then. The Eagles have signed several of Schwartz's former players, albeit on defense, over the past 2 seasons. So it's possible they could add another. There are some advantages for the Eagles to stick with Sudfeld as the backup, despite his inexperience. For one, he has been with the Eagles since August, so he knows the system. Secondly, the Eagles thought highly enough of Sudfeld to promote him from the practice squad last month when they heard the Indianapolis Colts planned to sign him. "Nate's a tremendous player," Foles said. "I'm excited about his future. Really smart, works his butt off. He's got all the tools to be a great player in this league." By keeping Sudfeld as the backup, the Eagles don't have to make a roster move to add a quarterback. And Sudfeld could get his first taste of NFL game experience in the season finale against the Cowboys, especially if the game is meaningless, which it should be. The Eagles should clinch at least a first-round bye by then. That way, the Eagles won't have to expose Foles to injury. But if the Eagles go this route, they would be taking a huge risk if Foles were to get hurt. The Eagles would have to be desperate to consider a quarterback like Johnson, Jason Campbell, or Dan Orlovsky. All are in their 30s, and they have played sparingly, if at all, in the past few seasons. Sure, they can provide a veteran presence, a necessary trait in the playoffs. But that's about it. The Eagles would be sunk if any of them had to play. Rookie cornerback Sidney Jones went through his first practice as an Eagle on Wednesday. The Eagles drafted him in the second round after he suffered a torn Achilles during his pro day in March. The Eagles have 3 weeks to decide whether to activate him or put him on injured reserve. Wentz had surgery on his ACL on Wednesday. It was performed by Dr. James Bradley, who is an orthopedic knee specialist based in Pittsburgh. L.G. Stephen Wisniewski, ankle, did not practice Wednesday. He left the game against the Rams in the first half. Zach Ertz, who missed last Sunday's game with a concussion, was cleared and practiced fully Wednesday. Safety Rodney McLeod, quad, was limited in practice. Contact Martin Frank at delawareinline.com. Follow on Twitter at mfrankenful.